Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? This is Kyle and Mike from the Fantasy Phenom. We are back. Do a short recap of yesterday's 7 overall games. We had the 2-game early and 5-game main. And break down today's crazy 12-game slate. We got 12 games today, 3 tomorrow, and then I believe 11 on Wednesday again. So another short slate packed in with 2 really big ones.
Yeah, this Sunday, Monday. Large slate. I think it had to do with only having 3 games on Thursday. But, 12 games tomorrow, as we've talked about before. That's a unique strategy.
12
So we'll
games
dive
today.
in. Today, yeah. Tomorrow, today. Yesterday, who knows? Yesterday, man. Gobert, 24 rebounds.
Gobert had himself a game. Yeah.
Did you see the end of that game, too, with they try to say he didn't tip the ball in?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, we had some nice winners yesterday, too. Let me read off some. So I know Temple fan, his name is Andy. He took down, or tied for, of course, so it's usually a tie in the late slate. Tied for first place in the late slate. Came out with almost $1,000 in winnings. So congrats to Andy. We had quite a few winners on Facebook as well. Let me pull those up. Travis Nunn took down $600, finished 4th out of 87 in a GPP. Came out again 600 ahead. We had, where else? There was another one in here somewhere. But yeah, man, great night again. You know, we've had every day since the All-Star break someone in the Phenom take down a GPP.
I know. I was just thinking that. I was like, man, it just seems like every day it's like someone just pops into Facebook or in the chat or in Slack, and is like, hey, I want a couple $100 tonight. So, yeah, I'm just it's pretty awesome to see. I know everybody's having a lot of fun. Just even if they're not winning, even if they're just winning a little bit here and there, just rooting everybody else on because they know it will be their time soon.
Hell yeah, man. That's why I say stick with it, man. You see, it's a new person every day. So shout out to all you guys. And something me and Mike were thinking about as well. So, we don't claim to be experts on this show, right? We're everyday DFS players just like you guys. And what's great about the Slack group is you guys put us onto plays as much as we put you onto plays, right? We just come onto the show, talk about plays we like, give our opinions, but we're in no way, shape, or form any smarter than anyone else that does the research that we do, right? I just have the ability to crunch numbers, and my projections are my projections are still my projections. They're not ride or die. They've done pretty well, but again, like I said, it's a huge testament to you guys as well, man. That Slack group is amazing, and the whole community. So you guys help us just as much as we help you. So appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, sure, we do. We play daily fantasy every day. It's not like we're just kind of playing every once in a while. I mean, we do this as obviously more than a hobby. We spend hours and hours every day, not only working at building our lineups, but helping out our community. And I think we're slowly becoming more and more just ambassadors for this family than just the 2 guys on a YouTube show.
I agree completely, man. So who won the contest last night?
So on DraftKings, I'm actually going to do the last 2 nights just because we did that show during the slate last time out. On the slate that was March the 4th in DraftKings was my boy Mike. He goes by MJS MIC 28, and he did a Dame CJ and a Kemba Batum stack, and that was the game that they played the Nets and the Nuggets respectively. So it was a 286.5 line. So congrats to you, man. I know you're just getting into it.
Yeah, he just joined like 3 days ago.
Yeah, he just joined 3 days ago. I think he said he played like $5 and won 25. So that's what it's all about, right? Yesterday in DraftKings was Quadfather 7. I know he is on the leaderboards as a top 10 player. Took down the melee with a line of 316. His top 2 scorers were Drew Holiday and Isaiah Thomas. But his lowest score in his lineup was 28. He had a number of guys score 35 plus points. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of his 8 players on DraftKings had 35. So really nice lineup, man.
It's a good showing.
Yeah. FanDuel 2 days ago was Pipo Sant.
Okay, I know who that is. He's in the group.
Yeah, he's with us in the group all the time. He's always got a good show and a good lineup. It's definitely a good person to check out his lines on a daily basis if you're happen to be in the same contest as him. And so 2 days ago he had Jokic and Nurkic. Also did Kemba and Conley as his point guards. Yesterday was Jaguar Lou with a 342.4 line. That
is Lewis Young.
Blew away the field. That blew away the field. I'm sure he won some money. I know, just since he plays every day, I'm sure he put some money in this line. So hopefully he did, and hopefully he got a nice return.
Yep, I know who that is. That's Lewis Young. So
Lewis,
starting to recognize the names.
Exactly. Yeah, he had Ross, Gordon, and Biyombo, which is something I thought about doing, but then talked myself out of it. Sure enough. But yeah, congrats to you guys again. If you are new to the Phenom or just subscribed to us, I just yesterday posted in Slack the full spreadsheets of everybody who's ever earned 1 point in this in these contests, and I also post like the full rules and regulations on how they'll work and how the championship formats will be, and what we're looking at as far as incorporating these peripheral sports as well.
Yeah, buddy, so look out for that. All right, man, we got 12 games today. 12 games on the main slate. Maybe a day you want to break it down slate by slate if you're not comfortable playing the whole 12 games. But
right.
Again, that's going to be a decision you get to make. A lot of good matchups today, a lot of stars in good spots, but also a lot of teams on back-to-back, so trying to pick and choose. Injuries are going to play a huge part as well. Obviously, we don't have news on Vucevic. Wade is out. So,
Yep. Okafor is doubtful. Kaminsky is out. I'm trying to think if there's any other big news. Jokic is now questionable. Horford is questionable. So some big players in injury limbo today. So there will be a lock show, and I caution you to build your lineups. You know, put some dummy lineups into the contest you want to play, but it might be a good strategy to wait to build your lineups closer to lock today.
Yeah, definitely. With all the news that comes out, like yesterday, a bunch of value is going to open up, I think, and then you have to decide whether it's good or bad value, of course. All right, so we got Brooklyn, Memphis first. It is in Memphis, so that worries me a little bit, Mike. Obviously, Brooklyn does a really good job of keeping it close at home, but what are your thoughts in Memphis?
Well, I know from Brooklyn, I think we're going to see a deep rotation today. I don't think it's going to be close. It's a 12-point spread as of right now, over under at 213.5. I think from the Nets side of the ball, we're going to see a deep rotation, and we're going to see a lot of the minutes spread out. So I don't really think it's smart or a safe bet to bet on any one of those guys. As far as the other side, I mean, in Brooklyn, we saw good games from, I don't have the numbers, I just remember from watching, we saw good games from both Gasol and Conley. I don't necessarily hate going there again, but especially with what Conley's been doing as of late, I think he gets the edge between the two of them.
Okay. Are you really high on Gasol today?
No, like I said, I think I'm higher on Conley than Gasol, but I think he can play both. I think they both returned value in the last time these two teams played. I will bring up the numbers.
What about Jeremy Lin? Do you look at him at all?
It's like a $500 difference, so if he's a little bit cheaper on FanDuel. I think if there's any guy to look at on the Nets to return 5 times value, it probably would be him. Just because perhaps this is a game that they give him a little extra run.
So I'm thinking 5,200.
Again, I don't think it will be, but perhaps. It's definitely just a tournament type thing.
I just don't know if I play him on a 12 game. If I'm playing the main, I don't think I play him.
Right. So Conley had 45 DraftKings points, and Gasol had 45 as well. So I think that could happen again easily.
Isaiah Thomas and Chris Paul are matched up late game tonight, 10:30. Isaiah, I think the Celtics are going to come out obviously really pissed off, right? We all know what happened last night. That blunder at the end. That game was a really good game. Tyler Ulis made a really nice shot, but
That was a great game.
I don't think that. I don't know. I just feel like Isaiah's going to come out firing tonight. Bradley will be back, so I caution you there. I'm not as high on Chris Paul as others are tonight.
I definitely would rather play Chris Paul than Isaiah Thomas, so I think we probably differ there. The only reason I say that is just because, it's just a long road trip at the end of the season. I know what you mean. It's a back-to-back. He's going up against Chris Paul. His numbers have been up and down lately. He's got 2 games under 40 in his last 5. Obviously, one was in limited minutes against the Lakers, but Atlanta was a good matchup for him too, and didn't really do it.
He just hasn't done. I don't know, man. I'm looking at like Chris Paul, and I know it was only one game against Milwaukee, but the Clippers just haven't looked right the past couple games.
I'm not necessarily high on Chris Paul either, but yeah, I don't really. I haven't really looked at either of those guys today as far as paying up.
Okay. No, I can agree with you. I think you can definitely pay down. I don't know. I don't know. Everyone's on Chris Paul tonight, and I don't think I am.
Oh yeah, I don't think I'm high on Chris Paul either. I see the matchup against Isaiah. It could work out well. He's kind of due for a big game. His last really good matchup was against Charlotte, and he did perform well, but that was an overtime game. So 9,000. I'm not sure what he is on FanDuel, but 9,000 is a tough one to stomach on a 12-game slate. I think there could be some other guys, or there are some other guys that are seemingly underpriced comparatively to what I expect them to do today.
Are you looking at the Chicago-Detroit game? So obviously no Wade. Rondo's at 5K against a pretty poor Detroit point guard defense. But you also have Reggie Jackson and Ish Smith.
So Rondo's also questionable. I thought that might be the case. So if just assuming Rondo plays, right? There's no Wade. I somewhat like that. If Rondo and Wade are both out, who do you think is going to start in place of Wade? Probably Carter Williams, I would think.
That would make sense. Carter Williams.
He started the last 2 games without Wade.
Yeah, I don't see Valentine starting.
But I think if Rondo and Wade are both out, I think Valentine gets some consideration. I think obviously Carter Williams will. They probably start Jaren Grant, but Jimmy Butler is the obvious play if both those guys are out.
See, I would rather just pay up to Kawhi.
Oh, well, I'm just saying on that team.
Oh, okay. Got yeah. See, I think Jimmy will be really chalky today because of Wade being out, and for that I don't like the matchup as much in Detroit. You talk about this all the time. Detroit being, the pace is going to be slower. I don't know. Kawhi in an up-paced game, highest spread of the night or highest over/under on the night. Great matchup against the Rockets, and I talk about the strategy of starting with a safe floor, right, when building lineups, and I think we can both agree Kawhi has a much safer floor than Jimmy Butler.
Yep, especially as of late. I think it's 3 straight over 50, so I agree with you.
Seth. Getting them confused now. Seth's actually been playing better than Steph, but Steph Curry against.
Good God.
He has, man. Look at the last couple games.
I know he has. I'm pissed that they decided to bench Noel. Remember how we talked about that?
Yeah, who would get the playing time?
Who would get benched? It was Noel. Stupid.
Are you looking at Steph against Atlanta? I mean, this is a long road trip for him.
Yeah, I think I'd rather pay up for Steph than play Paul or Thomas.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't play Steph on the road again. I mean, this is, I think, their 8th game on the road in a row, back to back. I'm not paying up for Steph when I can get IT or even Chris Paul. I'd rather play Chris Paul over Steph Curry tonight.
All right. Well, I'm still sticking with it, man. I think I like Steph. He is a great matchup, DVP-wise, versus Schroeder. It is a back-to-back, but, I mean, he's going to be taking the shots. He's going to be getting the minutes. He's he started to hit his threes. He had the second half of last game after a pretty 3 straight bad games from three. He had a good second half, so perhaps he turns the corner, and I think this is a good one for him.
What about the reverse? What about Schroeder against Steph? Could you do a Schroeder Howard stack in
No
this game?
thanks.
Or a Schroeder Millsap? I like Millsap a lot in this game, so you could pair them.
You could. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not gonna really look much in Atlanta today. I think Howard is the guy I'm looking at. But yeah, with Rose, $100 cheaper than Schroeder, I think I'm gonna go Rose.
I was looking at Rose too. Houston, San Antonio. I think Pat Bev is in a good position tonight. I like the pace of this game. I like what he's been doing lately. His price isn't really too high, and again, we talk about safe floors, man. Bev he's been consistent lately, and I think.
Yeah, I was hesitant to jump on board last game, and then when in that bad matchup, he had 32 or 33 DraftKings points. I think made me somewhat of a believer, and I like you said, I like this this price point at $5K.
Yeah, 5-6 on FanDuel.
Ooh, that might be a little tougher. 5K, 25 points. He's done that for the last 5 games.
People are saying move your mic away a little bit if you can put it down.
Too much?
Yeah.
See what I can do.
So Kemba is someone I'm looking at as well. Kemba's 82. I think I'd pay down for Kemba as opposed to pay up for Chris Paul and Isaiah Thomas. Yeah, by the way, Jokic was sent home today for being sick.
Yeah, I saw it was an illness.
Yeah, that's much better, man.
All right, cool.
So Kemba, and then I can even look at Jeff Teague, really. I know it's a back. Yeah, it is a back-to-back for Jeff Teague. Played well in the second half yesterday. Struggled in the first, but I like targeting Kemba's defense, and honestly, that's a matchup I could make a case for going both point guards.
The only thing that concerns me with Jeff Teague, it seemed like it was a Paul George game yesterday, and that's why he was somewhat limited. It wasn't like his role was limited at all. It was just the offense kind of funneled through George, and I could see that happening again today against Charlotte. They struggle against small forwards. So that's why I think I'm off of Teague, or at least, from my initial
build
perusing of point guards here. But yeah, Kemba, again, hot.
Yeah,
been hot.
Kemba's a streaky
averaging
player.
45.
I think you ride
over the last 6 games. Yeah.
I think you ride Kemba while he's hot.
What about Conley over Kemba? So almost same price on DraftKings.
You know what? I go Kemba because I think the game stays closer longer, and I think Kemba is more involved. Kemba's more a part of that offense, more of a focal point in that offense than Conley is, if that makes sense. I think Conley has no issue letting Gasol take over or Randolph when he's hot. You know what I mean? There's too many other guys on Memphis that can be the focal point of that offense.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Mike Conley's like the obvious. I think he's still going to garner some ownership too. So I would usually consider fading one guy in the same price point if the other guy is like not going to see some ownership. But I think against Brooklyn, Conley will. So
yeah, I think Conley will be.
Both those guys are in play, but I think I like Kemba as well.
But on the flip side, I don't think you worry at all about ownership today. I mean, you're on a 12-game slate. No one is really going to be high owned.
Right. I'm just saying, people at the same price, which one's going to get more? No,
I agree with you. I think
if one's looks to get like considerably more, then I consider fading it.
What about Kyrie and Dragic and even Tyler Johnson? So we go back to this Miami-Cleveland game. There was some beef at the end of last game.
Yeah, there was.
J.R. Smith got into it. He won't. Not that it matters for fantasy purposes, but he's not going to face disciplinary action. But clearly a little bit of bad blood. I think LeBron and Kyrie both play tonight in Cleveland. I don't see any reason to rest them again. So I think you're safe there. I don't know, man. I like LeBron more in this game than Kyrie.
Yeah, me too.
But LeBron's more expensive. I don't know. I'm comfortable actually fading Kyrie for Kemba still. Honestly, like I know Kyrie has higher upside, but 9,400, 82, save 1,200. Kyrie definitely has a safer floor, but I don't know. Maybe that's a bold call. I just think that
What about Kyrie over? So it's Chris Paul, Isaiah Thomas, Kyrie, and Dame. They're all pretty much the same price.
Dame is
I would probably
playing.
Minnesota
I'm not. Nah, I'm gonna stay away
on
from
the
Dame.
road. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go.
Kemba's my favorite from that line.
Well, no, not even including Kemba. So yeah, I mean Kemba could be the best play out of those four, but those four are all the same price. Um, I think I would pick Kyrie out of the four between Paul, Thomas,
Oh, that's
Kyrie,
right.
and
You said
Dame.
Paul. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I agree with you. Out of those four, yeah, but I'm still gonna pay down to Kemba over all of them.
Right. So if you want to include Kemba and Conley in there as those six,
Yeah.
Kemba's probably the one that stands out.
Is Tyler Johnson in play?
Yeah, he's in play. Obviously, just coming off a couple good games. His price did rise. Oh no, it stayed the same.
Yeah,
I thought
5,800.
it did rise. 57. Man, I don't know that.
I mean,
I
his
don't
his
like him
ceiling
really
is
to get to
limited.
40.
His
Yeah,
ceiling's
yeah.
limited, but in
That's why
consideration.
it's like in a tournament, I'd rather play Rose for $600 more for the ceiling,
Yeah.
or even Peyton for the ceiling.
TJ McConnell, I think I'm going to fade today. I don't see enough upside there, not on the 12 game slate. Malcolm Brogdon's not in consideration for me. Drew Holiday against Utah, not in Utah, and on a back to back. I know both teams are, but I don't really like that as much. I think I'm going to fade most of that game.
Yeah, so something I'm looking at here, in between these, it's like mid range. It's this Rubio versus Dragic call.
I
I
go
like both of these
Drogic. I
guys.
go Drogic, no
I like,
question.
yeah, I like both of these guys a lot. Um, I think it's going to come down to roster construction for me, but I think I want one of those two guys if I'm only building one lineup for sure.
Nice. Someone just said they placed third in a $100 single entry. That's awesome. Because
$100 single entry.
because of the Rodney Hood call. Nice. Congrats, man.
Ballsy. Rodney Hood and $100 single entry.
That is, man.
Props, man.
I wouldn't have played Rodney Hood in a $100 single entry, but I did have Rodney Hood in a couple spots.
Right. Yeah.
Do you like George Hill against Drew at home tonight? Because I do. I'm looking there.
I think I'd rather play Rubio for $100 more.
I can agree with you.
It's tough. I mean, I think they both are similar floor ceiling players.
But
So
see, I would rather just go.
just a preference.
I'm going Derrick Rose over all of them.
And you could do that too. I wouldn't hate that.
No, yeah, I like Rose against Orlando tonight. Orlando's on a back to back. Oh, sorry, both are. Never mind. Both are on a back to back. So that doesn't really factor in then. But yeah, I like Derrick Rose against Orlando. I think you can look at Elf as well. I personally would rather just play Derrick Rose, but Elf is obviously always a GPP play. Dame, I think you.
Man, these.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying the point guard position on these big slates, it's just really tough, and it's again it somewhat benefits DraftKings players because of the multiple position eligibility and the fact that you have a utility spot, but it's just an epitome of how tough it is to really get to the top of these GPPs on a 12 game slate because there are so many guys that are in good spots. And
Just want to mention, sorry not to interrupt, Pop. Horford is doubtful tonight. That was just
he
released.
went down. Okay, so he's been downgraded.
I'm gonna skip ahead here, but Amir Johnson, man. I know he'll be
Yeah.
chalky, but it's an Amir Johnson game. I know. I just mentioned last night how hard it is to pinpoint those games, but there's no way this factors as a Kelly Olynyk game, in my opinion, up against these two bigs. They need Amir's size, so
You would think.
I would think yes. Of course, I don't know anything in terms of how any of these coaches do their rotations anymore. But if I'm going to use my best predictive abilities, that's where I'm
Mm-hmm.
going.
It's tough. How's my mic, by the way?
It's a lot better, dude. No one can hear you breathing now.
Okay. Okay, cool.
You finally finished jogging.
Yeah, I was sprinting through these point guards.
Um. So yeah, Dame Lillard, I think is a punt play for sure. I'm not really too high on him. In Minnesota, I don't know, not really too high on Rubio. I can get behind for sure. I like Rubio. I can go Rubio Towns stack.
It's always in play.
Yeah, especially at home. Towns eats at home for what it's worth. Averages, I believe, about 6 more points at home than he does on the road. So something to keep in mind. And then Darren
Um,
Collison.
I was gonna say, is there anybody else you want to mention here at point guard?
Darren Collison, man. Darren Collison, I am really big on tonight.
Yeah, I'll just start listing guys instead of going into. I think Brogdon is in play. 41 minutes last game, 30 plus in 3 of his last 4 against Philly. I think. I think we talked about Patrick Beverly. Tyreek Evans is point guard eligible on DraftKings. I think that could be a good play. Carter Williams we talked about. Don't sleep on Tony Douglas either against Brooklyn. I think he had 28 minutes last game against Houston, put up 30 points. I don't think that is that fluky. I think if he gets those minutes, I think he can be a good punt today at point guard.
Cool. I like him. I think I'm gonna go mid pricing today at point guard. I'm not gonna try and get cute with that. I think there's too much value elsewhere. So I think you can safely expect me to go. The lowest I'll go is probably Collison at 5,500. So
yeah, I think it's going to be. I think we should come back and do what we did a couple days ago and just talk about
our
our favorite plays in each range because
there's so many plays.
really
there.
is a lot looking at.
Yeah, we'll at the end of the video, if you stick around, we'll kind of bring our thoughts all together in one for you guys because I know we're just kind of going through plays, talking about who we like, and that can be confusing. So
Also, there's someone cutting up a big ass tree in my front yard right now, so I apologize if you can hear
no, you're
the
good.
chainsaw.
Can't hear it at all. Interesting. Someone just mentioned it could be an Olynyk game. Stretch 4s and 5 give the Clippers trouble. Horford has success last time versus the Clippers for that reason. I mean, that is true as well. That's why I said, I'm not gonna claim to be an expert on that center situation. You very well could be right. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, they could play Jordan Mickey for all you know.
Yeah, that's not a. I won't even debate with you because you're probably right. To be honest with me, or to be honest with you, so. Tony Allen is someone I'm looking at from this Memphis game at 4,300. 5K on DraftKings. I don't know if I like that as much, but 4,300 on FanDuel, definitely in play.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to go there. He's been having a rough go of things recently. They sat, I think, a couple guys against Brooklyn the first time they played. I think Tony Allen was one of those guys. I think him and
him and Vince Carter sat, I believe.
Parsons. Oh, Carter.
No, was it Parsons?
No,
it was
Parsons.
Parsons. Yeah, you're right. It was Parsons. Do you look at Kilpatrick at all? I think you.
No, again, I'm not really looking at all at this Brooklyn side just because they're going to spread out the minutes.
Okay.
They are. It's going to happen. We're going to see KJ McDaniels with some minutes today.
Avery Bradley is expected to be back. So obviously it was just kind of a back-to-back thing where he sat. Mm-hmm. So that automatically cuts into Marcus Smart and Jaylen Brown. And I don't know if
that situation.
I don't know if I can safely roster any of the three, even in a good spot. I think this is kind of crazy to say, but I think Jaylen Brown has leapfrogged Marcus Smart in that rotation in terms of, and so I'd rather play Jaylen over Marcus.
I don't think we've seen it yet. What's going to happen? I think we have to continue to see what they're going to do with Avery Bradley before we just see who gets the minutes.
Someone just
perhaps that is the case.
Someone just said Tony Allen is out via Roto Grinders. I don't have any news on that yet. Not saying you're lying.
There's nothing that says that here, unless it like literally was just released. Let me refresh the page.
Yeah, I don't have anything either. So until I see anything on that, um, I caution you. Not saying you're lying, but just I'm not going to jump on that yet. JJ Redick against Boston. I don't think I'm as on that now. So with Avery Bradley playing, that shooting guard position automatically shores up. So I'm going to stay away there. Dwayne Wade's out, as we mentioned. Do you look at KCP at 5,300?
Always in playing tournaments, man.
I agree with you.
5,800. It's a little bit harder.
Yeah, draft is definitely a little harder, but I don't know, man. Something to look at on FanDuel 5,300. You mentioned how you're fading that whole situation from the Brooklyn game. I think it's well worth paying up that extra grand just to get KCP over Tony Allen. The upside is clearly higher.
Clearly, yep. Shooters at home, we talk about that all the time. He's got a plus 4.4 home split as far as fantasy points. I do like him. I do like the fact that Ish Smith's been getting more minutes, since he's a less usage guy than Reggie Jackson is. So yeah, I think KCP is in play. Obviously just a tournament play.
Everyone's saying Tony Allen is out. They're saying he's definitely out. Yeah, okay, so Tony Allen is resting tonight. I guess that news was released last night. I didn't hear that, but with multiple people reporting it, I'm going to...
all of my sources do not say that. The only other thing I have left to do is really check Twitter. Twitter's the know-all, right?
Yeah, so, anyways, I don't think it really factors in too much, but Clay against Atlanta, I think that's a fade for me. Tim Hardaway Jr. is something I'm looking at, though. Tim Hardaway's been hot.
He's a shooter, He's got to shoot 50% to exceed value, so it's not a safe bet.
It's not safe at all, but tournament-wise, I can look at it. Eric Gordon is someone I'm really looking at tonight against San Antonio. More so than Lou Williams, I think. San Antonio DVP-wise has been better against shooting guards, but I still like to target that position. And I think Eric Gordon has been the hotter of the two. And, I mean, it's again, predicting who's going to be streaky, but I can get behind an Eric Gordon play tonight.
Okay, yeah. I can get behind it too. 4,300, why not?
Alright, so now there's... Okay. We're just going to ignore the Tony Allen situation.
I don't think he's out. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Nothing on Twitter, nothing on Basketball Monster.
I'm going to ignore that entire situation, so...
Could be, but I don't think so.
We'll continue as planned. Batum against Indiana, I think you can look there. Again, I'm not as high on Batum because if Kemba goes off, I think Batum doesn't. It's harder for... I don't think both of them correlate very well together. I don't have the exact numbers, but from my eye test, I don't see it. Monte Ellis, I think, is a fade for me. Jeremy Lamb, in consideration for a cheap price, but I think there's too much other value on the slate to look there. Deion Waiters against Cleveland, going back to Cleveland. Even with that, I still don't like it with how many players they have back.
6K. He's in the same conversation as KCP at 5,800 as a tournament play. I don't necessarily like one over the other. I think if I had to choose, I would pick KCP. Much as I love D. Waiters.
I agree with you. No Korver for me. No other Cleveland shooting guards. If you look at Giannis against Philly, I don't think if I'm going to pay up for someone, I don't think I pay up for Giannis today.
Yeah, he's struggled to hit value.
Yeah, I
don't think he's done it in a while.
Yeah, I don't look there. Gerald Henderson is probable. That automatically muddies up that situation. So Justin Anderson, I think, falls out of the loop in terms of a playable fantasy option.
So there's not much to love here at shooting guard, I think, is what we're getting at. I think
Rodney Hood is in a good spot, but I don't I don't know if he plays. I'd be cautious about that. Back to back, coming back his first injury.
I think Gary Harris is in a good spot.
I love.
If you just saw what Rodney Hood did,
Just gonna get there. Yeah, I love both. I love both shooting guards from that game.
and I think his people are going to be off of him after his 3-point performance. But for that reason, I can't love that play.
What about Evan Fournier against New York?
Evan Fournier, if I'm not mistaken, has owned New York 2 games. No, not really. He's having 31 DraftKings points in 2 games.
I mean, that's 5
He's
and
going
a
to
half
get the
times
minutes.
value. It's 5.5 times
Talk
value.
about minutes consistency. He's getting the minutes. He hasn't gotten to 30 in 5 games, but he's also hasn't gotten to 40 in 8 games. So, yeah, I guess he's due. This is New York. He just played New York, had 27, shot 8 of 15.
Something to look at. I'm not really.
I don't love it either.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a tournament play, and I think I like other plays on that team. So.
Yep, I'm going right back to T. Ross and Aaron Gordon.
I think the only play that I love on at shooting guard on DraftKings, I think you can go Butler at shooting guard.
Yeah, on DraftKings.
I don't necessarily love it. We talked about KCP. He's probably the leg above the rest at mid range. I like Brogdon for his minutes too. I think he's shooting guard eligible on DraftKings. Could be a position to punt though.
Yeah.
Could be a Shabazz night too. 3,200 against Portland. Obviously, the minutes haven't really been there, but
I'm not
against
there at all.
Against Utah, he had 23. Against Denver, he had 22.
I just don't know that you can play a guy that's not a starter tonight, Mike. In terms of all the value that there is that is starting, right? So you'll have Amir Johnson, you'll have Biyombo. I just don't know if you play a guy that's not guaranteed high minutes for value.
You're right. You're right.
CJ McConnell against Minnesota. I think I'm gonna fade that. I love McCollum. Sorry, I love Tyreek tonight. So Tyreek rested yesterday, going up against Denver. He's the only rested player on Sacramento. Going to Denver on a back-to-back, so I like his matchup. I also like Gary Harris a lot, as Mike mentioned. I like him better than Will Barton. If Jokic is out, I think you got to look at Will Barton, though.
I kind of like CJ McCollum, to be honest with you. Coming off a really good game, actually. It was without Dame, but earlier in the season, that was his best game of the season. He had close to 65 DraftKings points, but I don't know. I could get behind him today.
I can see it. I mean, Minnesota's a guy to attack, or a shooting guard to attack, right?
I'm not sure. What do they have? So DVP, let's look.
He's also off minutes restriction, by the way. The Sacramento Kings have come out and said he is no longer on a minutes restriction. The only restriction he has is not playing back-to-backs.
How about Tyreek?
Yep. So Tyreek will not play one of the 2 games on a back-to-back, but there is no longer a minutes restriction. What that means for his minutes, I couldn't tell you, but at least the cap is lifted. Looking at small forward, I don't look at anyone from the Brooklyn-Memphis game. Again, I'm not looking at value there. Jay Crowder with Horford out is someone I'm definitely looking at, though, Mike.
Let's see. I don't know. I'm never really high on Jay Crowder, but he is the one guy that's going to retain the minutes, right?
Yeah, I mean, his spot is safe.
Yeah.
So, definitely Jay Crowder's in play. You can look at Jaylen Brown. Again, I'm not as high on him.
We talk about how, are they going to just decide between Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart moving forward, but you can throw Jay Crowder in that mix. Maybe they get rid of Jay Crowder and they keep Smart and Brown.
Well, they were shopping Crowder, so definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not looking.
So Crowder is the same price as Terrence Ross. That's a lot of money for Terrence Ross. No thanks.
Yeah, you go Jay Crowder. But on FanDuel, Terrence Ross is 4,500 again. So that's a lock for me.
Why? Why is he still 4,500?
Back to back. They
Oh, right.
didn't have a chance to up his price. Jay Crowder, again, at 59, I can get behind that. But, again, because I'm going Terrence Ross, I can already tell you I'm going to have a lot of Kawhi. So I like the play. I'm not going to roster him, though. Jimmy Butler at 9,100, 86 on DraftKings. 86 is kind of a depressed price for his upside, but it's fair for what he's been doing and, where he's been at.
Yeah, Kawhi's the cash play. Butler and Kawhi both have the same ceiling, so I would go Butler in tournaments. Save you $1,000.
Marcus Morris against Chicago, I think, is someone you can look at as well. I'm almost inclined to go Marcus Morris over Jay Crowder.
I like Gallo over the bunch against Sacramento.
I like Wilson Chandler if Jokic doesn't play over everyone that you just mentioned.
Well, yeah, I think Chandler starting is somewhat been a problem to his fantasy performance. Him off the bench seems to be a better spot for him. Chandler and Gallo are pretty much the same price. Chandler's going to start at power forward. Probably see Plumlee start at center. I'm going to stick with Gallo.
Okay. Again, I like Morris's spot. I'm not going to touch that Golden State situation. I'm not going to go after Barnes or Iggy or Bazemore. I do look at Self-Alosha, though.
Yeah. I think it's more of a Cephalosha game than a Bazemore game, just like it was yesterday.
Someone just said you look like a young Pau Gasol.
I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
We get all the...
I haven't heard that one before.
We get so many references to white players.
With beards?
All white.
All beards, too.
All white guys looked alike. Okay, going to Kawhi, man. Kawhi 9,200. So, wow. Oh, that's even a more no-brainer for me. Why did I think... I was looking at the DraftKings pricing. Kawhi's only $100 more than Jimmy Butler. Now it's even more of a lock. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
Not even a question now. On DraftKings,
think about MKG today with Frank out.
You can look there, of course. Indiana and Charlotte. MKG against Indiana. I mean,
I don't think I'm high on it.
I'm not high on it. Actually, 5,400. Yeah, I'd rather go Crowder, and then I'd even pay up to Morris again. So, yeah, because of the other options, MKG is going to end up being a fade for me. I won't roster that. LeBron at 11,000. I think I'd like him, like I said, better than Kyrie, but at 11,000, that price is hard.
Yeah, I like Curry and Towns paying up today.
That's just not where I'm going to pay up at.
And then Kawhi and Jimmy Butler.
Someone just said, my boy said Cephalosha goes off for 40 plus. He said he fell out of his chair.
Who said that?
One of the viewers, he said, my boy just said Cephalosha goes off for 40 plus. I fell out of my chair. I like Cephalosha tonight I like Cephalosha for his price. He'll see some minutes, but I don't think he goes off for 40 points. If he does,
they're gonna need his defense so that he'll get extra minutes today.
Yeah, we got a couple.
They like him for his defense.
Got a couple of new guys that are saying they're new here, so welcome.
What's up? What's up?
Chris Middleton, man, I don't think that's going to be a hard two fade, not a hard fade, hard two fade on FanDuel, man. 5,600. He's rested.
Yep.
I don't see.
He's getting to start. He's starting now, so starting playing 30 minutes.
I was just going to say, he's
playing
30+ minutes
against Philly and by Robert, right?
Yep.
Robert Covington. Yeah.
I don't know how you fade that.
I don't know. That's a great matchup, but I mean, again, he is one of those Stafford type of guys. I think his price is still low, especially on FanDuel.
Oh, absolutely. 56 is a bargain to me on FanDuel.
What about Paul George?
I'm going to stay away from Paul George.
I think this is a Paul George game, I think. Coming off a good one. 48 for 49 DraftKings points. He did shoot 63% from the field, so I don't think you can bet on him doing that again. But
I think I stay away
again,
from
I
Paul
think this
George.
is more of a Paul George and a Jeff Teague game. I'd rather play him than Melo today.
See, I'd just rather go right up to Kawhi.
Yep, me too. I don't think I don't think he's in my player pool, but I'm just saying, I think he's in a good matchup.
That's fair. And just to kind of clarify again, so we're going to go back and talk about the plays that we're looking at in the end. There's so many plays that are in good matchups, but that doesn't mean they make our player pool, right? Our player pool, at least our strategy is to limit it to about 5 or 6 per position. So just because we say they're in a
Yep.
good matchup doesn't mean we're necessarily looking at them in our personal.
But for those who are, we are providing some sort of insight.
Yeah.
Sounds like a disclaimer for the haters.
Do you look at Gordon Hayward against New Orleans?
Oh man, Hayward let me down yesterday. He just looked like he was passing out of all of his shots watching that game.
Rodney Hood kind of took over.
Yeah, like I said, Rodney Hood was hitting corner threes, and kind of deferred to him. So he's in a good spot again. Price is somewhat fair again, back to back. Probably will limit Rodney Hood a bit. But again, I think you're limiting your player pool to 2 guys in each price range. I think he falls out of the range,
I agree with that. You look at Melo, I think I'm going to fade Melo today. Terrence Ross is definitely a consideration, man. 4,500 on FanDuel. That's just, that's tough. Tough to pass up,
Yep.
I should say. Tough to pass up. Jeff Green, I think,
18 shots against Washington.
Yeah, he's getting his shots. He is getting his shots for sure. It's just, again, the thing with Terrence Ross is, are they going to fall? That's the only question mark.
Well, if he's going to get 18 shots and shoot 40% at 4,500, he's going to hit value. So it's not even about if his shots fall at that price. It's just like if he continues to get 15 to 20 shots a game at 4,500, it's almost like he has to be in play.
Can agree with you. I think Wiggins is going to get slept on tonight.
Yeah, I agree. I was just looking at that. I think this is a nice game to target. When I'm looking at games to target tomorrow, it's Sacramento, Denver, Houston, San Antonio.
Tonight, Mike. Tonight. Game starting in a couple hours.
Tonight, sorry. Houston, San Antonio, Portland, Minnesota, and Golden State, Atlanta.
Yeah, I like Wiggins over Melo. I like Wiggins over Paul George. I like Wiggins over Gordon Hayward. So we're talking players similar to that price point. Mo Harkless is someone I'm looking at as well, though, Mike. I think 4,800.
He's too high on
draft
55, I think.
For sure, yeah. But you talk about minutes, consistent minutes, matchup, and targeting that game. So
yep.
he draws consideration.
Yeah, no, I like him.
He draws consideration, and then you mentioned
even at 5,500, I think he's in consideration.
And then you mentioned Gallo and Chandler. I mean, it's a toss-up between those two, right? You just have to pick right. And you are high on Gallo. I'm going to go Chandler.
Yeah, just based off of DVP, man. Like I mentioned yesterday, what they give up to small forwards in the last 5 games is pretty unreal. And Wilson Chandler's price has been steady dropping since he started at power forward. He's averaging 20 points or just over 20 points in the last 3 games.
It's fair. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I don't know. I'm higher on Chandler. So, but with that said, again, I can safely tell you that I'll go Kawhi, and then Terrence Ross, Chris Middleton. To be looking at those guys, even Mo Harkless draws some consideration. So, Zach Randolph against Brooklyn, I think draws some consideration, but I'm not going to go there. Trevor Booker, I'm good off. JaMychal Green, no thank you. I think I'd rather roster JaMychal Green over Zach Randolph today if I had to pick between the two, but
I agree.
Blake Griffin is someone I'm definitely looking at from this Clippers side of the ball. I like him against Boston a lot today.
Yeah, I think he had a really good game against them, too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he only...
No, 39 DraftKings points.
I was going to say, I don't think he had a great game.
Well, yeah, I think this spot kind of sells itself. Obviously, with no Al Horford, um, they are undersized and outmatched performance-wise or talent-wise in the front court today. So Blake Griffin just becomes the most talented player in the front court on either side.
Staying with this game, Amir Johnson again. If Al Horford is indeed out, which he's doubtful right now, so all signs indicate there. I'm gonna fire up Amir Johnson, man. He has hit 10 times value in his last 2 games. I know that may sound like point chasing, and it could backfire. But at his price, I don't think that he's someone. I don't think I fade him. I may have a couple lineups without him, depending on how many I make today. But
I think he is a worthy fade. Just what he's done pretty much the majority of the season, even given those minutes, what he's done the majority of the season. So I think he is worthy of fade consideration over perhaps like a Biyombo, but he is in a good spot. I think this does what you said, call to be a Amir Johnson game. If it happens,
you know
we'll
what
see.
though?
But
Here's where I almost have to backtrack on that. I'm just thinking directly, like the most recent game, Spencer Hawes. Look what Spencer Hawes just did to the Clippers. So the more I think about it, man, I don't know. Kelly Olynyk might be a play today.
it might be, yeah. I don't necessarily think I have no idea what's going to happen in this front court as far as Boston. I have had no idea all season. Um, I've taken punts on either side, but I've never been like high about playing one of these guys in cash, no matter what they've done the last 5 games or what. It's just
Yeah, it's a
that's something I've learned over the course of the season, that once you think somebody's in a good spot, they play the other guy. Just like we saw yesterday, we both said we didn't like Amir Johnson.
Yeah, we liked Kelly in that game, and sure enough.
Right, so it's just I don't trust like going 100% exposure there, and for that reason, because he's coming off 2 straight games, I think he is a worthy fade candidate. Although he could do it again. So
Tobias Harris, do you look there against Chicago?
yeah, I always look there, but the fact that the whole thing with him and John Lure, like another thing you can't really safely bet on.
I kind of like.
Who's going to get the run? Who's going to get the touches?
I kind of like Tobias today. I like him more than John Lure too, especially now that their prices are more close together. $700 difference as opposed to, I believe it was $900 the other day. Not that that's a huge difference, but I like it a little more.
I don't know. I think I'm going to play Aaron Gordon over Tobias Harris.
I agree with you.
At the same price, 5,500, and then I think Marvin Williams at 57. That's a little high, but I think his minutes will be safe today as well.
With no Frank,
safer than Tobias Harris.
Do you look at Bobby Portis? I don't. I'm still not on that train.
Nope. I think JaMychal Green over Portis today.
I love Millsap today, though. I love Millsap.
I'm higher on Dwight today. So
Okay.
throw that in the.
See, I think it's been shown that they can both do damage.
They can, yeah, but I don't see myself playing both on a 12-game slate. So I'm gonna pick Dwight.
Okay. Ersan Ilyasova, I think this could be a game for him as well. He's been getting run and the high tempo. I don't know. I can see this. I can see him getting a little bit of a run and maybe get you to 20 points.
I'm not gonna go there, but I mean, I guess if you're gonna if you want to fade Amir Johnson, he's a candidate there.
I love LaMarcus Aldridge today. I can even argue that you can do a Kawhi LaMarcus Aldridge stack.
Could argue that.
Especially with all the value out there, right? Like if I'm looking at Terrence Ross, Aaron Gordon, Biyombo, just a lot of value that you can fit in some of those guys. Frank is out as you mentioned, so Marvin Williams at 5,200. I like that a lot. I like that price. 57 is a little harder on DraftKings, but James Johnson at 6,200. I don't know if I go there tonight with all the bodies back.
There's just so many other plays below him. Like we just said, Marvin Williams. We just said Aaron Gordon. I think Rashawn Holmes is in play with no Embiid at 52. Willie Cauley-Stein torched the Nuggets to like 45 points not too long ago at 51. Michael Green against the Nets. So yeah, I think that range right there is probably where I'm going at power forward. James Johnson is in that range, but
I'd rather pay down. So here's a guy I'm hearing pop up a lot, Terrence Jones. I mean, the matchup is there for sure. Could he get minutes? Absolutely. But here's the problem with the Bucks. Spencer Hawes just went off last game, right?
man, fantasy players just love some Terrence Jones.
You have in the Bucks front court, you have 6 guys that could get 30 plus minutes.
Would lead the team in minutes, yeah.
You also have 6 guys that could get a coach's do not play. And so predicting that is hard. GPP wise,
he's like a 1 out of 10 lineup kind of guy.
Yeah, I can see the flyer on Terrence Jones, no doubt, especially on DraftKings. 4K, well worth the flyer. Well worth the flyer. FanDuel 5,500, a little harder. If he gets 25 minutes, Terrence Jones has shown that he's a points per minute guy. He can definitely hit value given the minutes. It's just a matter of will he get his minutes, right?
Yeah.
Anthony Davis against Utah. I don't know if I'd go back there. I think I'd just rather pay down to Blake.
Yeah, not where I'm paying up at all.
Kristaps against Orlando. I think I'm going to fade that. But I love Aaron Gordon from that game at 5,200, like you just mentioned.
I think Porzingis will be sneaky today. I don't know. He's a young guy. You know, he builds his confidence, and I don't know. It could be a building block game against the Warriors. You know,
You talking Kristaps?
That was a big fight for him. You know, and playing at center, I think is the best bet for the Knicks in general. And we saw him get 40 minutes, most of them at center. Rebounding numbers were up. Again, there was not really much of a paint presence, but I think he could be sneaky. I don't necessarily like it in matchup against Biyombo. I think Biyombo could bully,
Kristaps.
KP, but 6,900 I think could work out.
What are your thoughts on Bielitsa? Bielitsa? I think that's how you say his last name. Bielitsa. What are your thoughts on him?
I feel like this guy's position has changed like 4 times on FanDuel and DraftKings. They're just trying to get him run, I think, no matter where they can. Against Portland, no. I'm not high on it. So it looks like Matt Barnes and Pat McCarr are going to split this minutes.
Yeah, see, I'm just going to stay away from that whole situation.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to mention that. That's really it, man. I don't see anything else here that we're talking about. I think
what about
another
Jokic?
thing worth mentioning is Scal only played 2 minutes yesterday against Utah.
What about Jokic?
I think Jokic could be considered doubtful if he left practice early.
If he plays, do you play Jokic or Blake?
Jokic.
Okay. See, I'm going to go Blake. So, what a surprise. We disagree on the big man.
Jokic. Yeah, I guess if he play, I don't think I play. I'm not really high on playing either, but
okay,
I'll say Jokic.
Do you look at Gasol in cash today against Brooklyn? I know you said you're high on Conley, but you can look at Gasol.
Look at both for sure.
DeAndre Jordan also in consideration against Boston.
Absolutely, but again, I don't think he played both.
Jordan and Blake.
Blake and Jordan.
We mentioned Kelly Olynyk. I like Kelly Olynyk more on DraftKings than I do FanDuel. Reason being, obviously, he takes up your only center spot on FanDuel. On DraftKings, you can use him as a utility or, that forward spot. So you have a lot more room with Kelly Olynyk.
I mean, on cash on FanDuel, I think you have to play Biyombo.
On cash?
It's in cash on FanDuel at center. You have to play Biyombo.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I go Kelly on FanDuel just because he takes up that center spot. Do you look at Drummond against Chicago? I think he's a guy that'll go low owned today, but could have a nice game.
No, I don't think I'm going to do that. Interested in obviously Towns. I think Towns is the guy I want, but I don't know if I'm going to get up to him. Again, him and Curry are the two guys I want to pay up for today, but I have to kind of decide still. Gobert's coming off a huge game.
I'm not going back to
this
Gobert.
Was really that good of a match to him.
No, I'm not going back to Gobert. Do you look at so obviously Dwight? I love Dwight's matchup today. I think you can look at Dwight, especially on DraftKings. 6,700 is a very fair price. Maybe you could even make the argument that it's a depressed price for what he could do.
Yeah, I think on FanDuel I'm going to stay away from Dwight, but on 60, I like that play a lot.
On DraftKings.
On DraftKings.
Agree. And then here's a guy that I'm going to go right back to that I think a lot of people are off of. Miles Turner.
I think a lot of people are going to be off of him, yeah. Just because he's continuously underperformed.
Yeah, but
he's had two pretty good games in Charlotte this year. He's averaging 32.5, so that's right around value.
I just think, for Charlotte, so obviously no Frank. Not that Frank was an amazing rebounder anyway. You put Cody Zeller in there, Johnny O'Brien, Marvin Williams. I don't think any of those pose a threat to Miles Turner.
No, I don't think so either. But the fact that good or bad matchup, home or away, he hasn't really done much recently.
No, I agree with you. He's definitely underperformed, but he's someone I'm looking at personally. I won't try and talk you guys onto him.
What about Greg Monroe against Philly?
Absolutely, man. I love Greg Monroe's matchup. I don't love Greg Monroe's coach.
Exactly. That's the whole thing, man. I think he's a tournament play. I think, obviously, I like Dwight Howard. Cody Zeller, I think, is in play, especially on FanDuel.
I don't know if I go Cody Zeller. I don't know how confident I feel in him.
I like this play, man. I think more like a cash kind of guy.
Did Spencer Hawes used to play for Philadelphia?
Not that I know of.
I could have sworn.
Maybe he rode the bench a year there, but
I could have sworn Spencer Hawes played for Philly. I could be wrong, but I'm not gonna look there. Just throwing that out there. 4,300. Obviously, his price skyrocketed compared to where it was. I'm not gonna go there. Thiago Splitter, for what it's worth, is making a lot of improvement according to their beat writer. Someone to look out for in the future. Obviously not today.
So Rashawn Holmes or Willie Cauley-Stein?
Rashawn Holmes.
It's a tough call. I'm going to go Cauley-Stein, but same price pretty much on DraftKings, 52 and 51. I think Rashawn Holmes is the better player. I do think so, but
I like his matchup better too.
The minutes just are there for Cauley-Stein, and they can.
But if Okafor's out, can't you say the minutes are there for Holmes?
Not really, man. I don't think he's played 30 minutes at all this entire season. I think Saric becomes the backup center. To be completely honest with you.
Interesting. I don't know. I would rather go.
And he's also considered probable right now.
Who, Okafor?
So he's not 100%. No. Rashawn Holmes. He's got a hamstring injury, so he's not 100% either. So. Just from the minutes perspective,
I just don't like Willie Cauley-Stein on a back-to-back going to Denver.
No, I don't like him much either.
So that reason I like Holmes on rest against that Milwaukee Bucks center position.
No, I think they're both in consideration.
I'm not going to look at Boogie today. I'm also not going to look at Gobert. Although, Gobert very well could go off again. That matchup is there. Boogie's not going to pose a threat to him, at least offensive-wise. Rebounding, he won't have as easy of a time. Karl Anthony Towns and Nurkic from this game are both in play. And Nurkic his price went down. It's 5,900. Obviously, he didn't have his 40-point game, but whew. I like
I like Nurkic. I don't love it. I love Towns. Towns, man, he just consistent.
yeah, especially at home. Like I said, especially at home.
So yeah, I like that. I gotta look at Plumlee too, right? No, if Jokic is out, 4,300.
I don't think he has enough role in that offense. There's too many other guys.
So who's gonna play at center? I mean,
I mean, he can play. He'll get minutes, but is he going to be involved? I don't think so. You talk about Will Barton when he's on the court, right? No one else is getting shots. You have Chandler, Gallo, Harris. I don't think Plumlee gets enough points to merit it. I honestly like Biyombo more than Plumlee in terms of upside.
yeah, no, me too. I'm just thinking he's in play at 4,300. I think he can return value if he does play, significant minutes, which I think he will if Jokic is out. But yeah, and none of these punts really are going to go over Biyombo here. So minimum salary on DraftKings at 3K.
Yeah.
He needs to give you 15 points if he plays 35 minutes. I don't see how he doesn't do that.
Yeah, I originally was looking at not playing Biyombo, but I have convinced myself otherwise. Slapped myself a little bit.
In cash
Got
and
myself. Yeah, I got myself thinking
single entry
straight.
tournament formats, I think he's got to be in play. I think you can maybe fade him
In multi.
in like the larger tournaments.
If you're doing multiple lineups, yeah.
Yeah, but that's really it.
So.
That is really it, man.
All right, so let's break it down. Let's break it down. Point guards. Give me your top. So we'll do the similar format. Point guards. You do DraftKings. I'll do FanDuel. Point guards
Yep.
over
8.
8K, between 6 and 8, and under 6.
No, let's do 5 and 8.
Okay, 5 and 8.
All right, yeah, over 8, Steph Curry. Under 8, or between 5 and 8, Ricky Rubio. Under 5.
There's not much.
There isn't much, no. I think I'm gonna go Carter Williams.
I think it's very acceptable to not have a play under 5 at point guard as well. I don't think I pay for value there. Over 8 on FanDuel, I'm going to go with my first initial thought. Kemba. 8,200. Give me Kemba. Between 5 and 8, I'm going to go. Between 5 and 8, I'm going to go Rubio. And then under 5, Ty Lawson.
So there's only 2 guys over 8 on shooting guards on DraftKings, so we'll do over 7.
Okay.
So over 7, I'm gonna go CJ
Okay.
McCollum. Between 5 and 7, I'm gonna go KCP. And actually no, I'm gonna go Malcolm Brogdon.
Okay.
And under 5, another one's tough. Take me a punt on Shabazz at 3,200.
Okay. Over 7 for me on FanDuel. I'm going to roll with. Man, there's not a lot of high price guys on FanDuel, like you were saying. I think I'm inclined. I mean, my favorite play would be. Honestly, like James Harden, but I'm not paying that price for him. So the guy that I would play that's over 7 would be CJ. I agree with that. However, James Harden is my favorite player above 7. My favorite play between 5 and 7 is also KCP. And then my favorite play under 5, can I use Eric Gordon at 5? Is that acceptable?
Yeah, it'll work.
Okay. I like Eric Gordon tonight.
Also like Eric Gordon at 43. Small forward. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Kawhi. I think we both agree there. Although him and Butler again on DraftKings is,
It's a little
I think
harder.
that's a cash tournament perspective right there. Mid range, I'm gonna go Gallo at 61,
Okay.
and then under. There's a lot of people, like I said. I know
This is
that's
value.
power forward, and then
Value.
under five. Under five. Um, let's see. You know what? Let me take a punt on Josh Richardson. I didn't talk about him much, but 4,300.
You're going super punty today.
Well, that's the name of the game, man. 12 game slate for a tournament player. You gotta take some punts at these minimums, especially on DraftKings, man.
See, I don't know if I punt today. I just think there's too many value plays. Above 8, Kawhi. In the mid-range, Chris Middleton. And below it, Terrence Ross. I think this is the easiest position for me on the slate today.
Yeah, Terrence Ross, kind of a little gimme there.
Yeah, especially on FanDuel. Absolutely. Power forward, over 8K, I go Blake. In between 5 and 8, I think I'm going to roll with Paul Millsap. And underneath 5K, I'm going to roll. Damn it, I can't use Aaron Gordon. Willie Cauley-Stein, that's an option. Probably, if Okafor is out, Rashawn Holmes. If he plays,
Okafor is out.
he is out for sure.
Oh, I'm sorry, he's doubtful. But yeah,
Yeah.
everything I'm reading, he's going to be out.
If he is out, I like Holmes a lot. If he does play, man,
What's
this
Holmes' price on FanDuel?
4,500. Under 5. The other one is again, and I'm not sold on this play. Actually, don't know. Jermichael Green. I like Jermichael Green a lot. So give me Jermichael
Yeah,
Green.
that was mine. Michael Green at 48. I'm going Aaron Gordon at 55, mid range and high priced. Give me Towns. I mean, he's power forward eligible. I mean, cop out there.
Okay.
Let's see. Center over 8. I'm gonna go Gasol since I just said Towns. Under 8, I'm going to go Howard at 67. Under 5. Goodness. Give me Plumlee.
Okay. Over 8 on FanDuel. You know what? I'm going to stick with this. I think it's sneaky. Andre Drummond, 8,100. I, I like the play. I'm not going to roster him, but I like the play. I think he'll have a nice game. Between 5 and 8, DeAndre Jordan. And then under 5 is going to be Biyombo. That's no question for me. As long as
Oh yeah, Biombo.
Vooch is out, it's Biyombo. If Vooch does play, a guy that we didn't mention that I think you can look at is possibly Deadman, and then you can even go reverse and look at Nene, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, Biombo's the play if Vooch is out for sure.
Yeah.
Probably the best punt of the day.
So yeah, those are our favorite plays at those price points at that position. Someone asked, what about Rolo against?
Again, so 12 game slate. 12 game slate. If you aren't playing multiple lineups, you are automatically handicapped. I don't know if people realize that enough. So if you aren't playing multiple lineups, there's no point to invest a lot of money in today's slate. Because even if you have a great lineup, it still won't be the greatest because there are so many people that are going to have good games today on this slate. So
I agree with that.
I don't think we say that enough. These slates benefit those who have the larger bankroll. So find your single entry games. And yeah, play light if you're not throwing a bunch of money, a bunch of lineups at it.
Yeah, on the main slate, I'm going to stick with cash. I'm going to do some double ups, things like that. And then
Right.
I'll break down the slates to play the others. I can't
And
mention.
even if you're
Go ahead.
even if you're playing cash tonight, it's worthy to put a couple GPP guys into that cash lineup. Because if you're just projecting, you're just trying to get everybody to get 5 times value, it's still tough to cash. So you want some upside with your cash lineup on a 12-game slate.
Agree with you. Cash line could be a little high tonight. Again, just a huge thank you again for all the support. Look forward to some merchandise coming out. That will be in the relatively near future. We're working on getting some deals done. Look for March Madness. So we have a March Madness tournament being set up right now. So look forward to that in the Slack group. That is exclusive to the Slack members. So if you guys are excited about that, we'll have that.
I think we're going to do a 3 bracket entry max type thing. I think we haven't settled on a price. So if you have a preference, of how much it costs to buy in, let us know. But yeah, we're going to set it up a pool just for the Phenoms.
Yep. So.
Also, baseball video. We have a set day or time. Guess not really. This week, hopefully tonight or tomorrow's show, we can get you the exact time. Start hyping it up.
Yeah, so we'll let you know on that. Baseball season leagues are coming, so look for those. Obviously, baseball season. And then, most importantly, Wednesday is the plan. We will start breaking down every position on baseball. So we're going to do a different video every day. Well, not every day, but we'll do probably 2 a week, breaking down positions on baseball, looking at, obviously, guys that we're looking forward to, guys that we're not high on this year, things like that. And that takes both a DFS and season-long perspective. So
exactly, yeah, it's kind of just previewing the stats we look at and things like that as well.
And of course, huge difference between DraftKings and FanDuel when it comes to fantasy baseball. So Mike is pretty much going to play DraftKings on terms of fantasy baseball. I'll pretty much play FanDuel. So you'll get both perspectives, and on top of that, we have Josh Sands, who you guys will meet on Wednesday. And
right. So we'll introduce some Josh to you. I'm going to start to put out like a strategy series, more of like write-ups based off of how to go about DFS on each site, how to go about building lineups, how to go about what stats to look at, and so look forward to that in the next couple of weeks as well. But baseball is being ramped up.
Yeah, we are excited about baseball, man. World Baseball Classic started today. South Korea and Israel played. Israel, for those of you interested, again play tonight versus Chinese Taipei. So if you guys are interested in watching some baseball, that is on. There's going to be a ton of games going, obviously, in the next week or two. U.S. plays, I believe, in a couple days. I don't think they play tomorrow. But, yeah, man, I'm really excited for baseball. I think it's an area that is relatively still, I don't want to say untouched, but it's not nearly as populated as football and even less populated than basketball, in my opinion. So if you can nail down baseball in terms of getting the plays right in your knowledge and research, there's a lot of opportunity in baseball. So I'm excited for that.
And a lot of it's about getting a system down too with baseball. So, again, get your feet wet a little bit. Once baseball starts, perhaps play a little bit of money here and there. Utilize our free contests to get used to building lineups and things like that.
Yeah, the baseball again is in the first month or so is going to be all feeling out, right? Like it's hard to know. We'll use last season's stats in about the first 2 to 4 weeks, right? Because you don't really you can't take stats versus the first week. We'll also factor in spring training as much as you can with that. So I recommend playing light kind of the first couple weeks of baseball just until you kind of figure out who's doing what. But yeah, man. Look.
Either way, lineup building stays the same. Which positions to target, which spots in the order to target, things like that. Regardless of season. So there's definitely some strategy to look at.
Yeah, and if you guys are numbers guys like me, you look forward to baseball. I'm telling you, baseball is the most stat-driven fantasy sport, or sport in general. So that's what has me so excited, man. You know I love numbers, so
Hell yeah.
can't wait. So
For those of you that were wondering about the daily contest, again, I mentioned that earlier today, though that has been posted in Slack, and there is incentive to playing all of these peripheral sports as well. So even if you don't play hockey, it's free. We post them in Slack every day. And there's incentive to get a lineup in there, and again, it helps you learn. So
yeah, it's just
we're trying to get that all for all the peripheral sports as well.
It's a good way just to kind of practice playing other DFS sports. And we have a bunch of guys. We had a couple guys talking about they played NASCAR for the first time yesterday just because of the Slack group and having that channel in there. And so guys that are excited about watching and playing other sports. Hockey is still going. We have a lot of guys in there that are now. Some play more hockey than basketball just because of the All-Star break and how much success they had with hockey. So
right, and like I said, we're providing incentive too. So the person that has the most points combined between hockey and basketball at the end of the season, they're going to go into a championship, and the winner of that championship is going to get a free entry into our baseball season-long leagues to continue with that cross-sport method. And we're going to do like a DFS championship as well. So throughout all of the sports at the end of the year, if you have the most points, when it combined from NASCAR, golf, soccer, baseball, everything, then you're going to compete for a championship in that. And I mean, so there's incentive to get in there. And again, the other incentive was just to try it out. I mean, these are some untapped markets. Could be some easy money if you get used to it.
Yeah, and for those of you interested that are new here, whatnot, as we talk about the Slack group a lot. That's our communication forum. It's a mobile app. It's also internet based, or computer based. I'm sorry. It's separated by channels, so we have it all organized. And again, the subscription, you get a free 7-day trial, no strings attached. All you just have to do, if you don't like it, just cancel before the 7th day, or before the 8th day, so you don't get charged. After that, it's $9.99 a month. That's 33 cents a day. That's just over a quarter entry into DraftKings every day.
Yeah, you can make that back easy.
You can make your subscription back in a day. So, and something I always recommend is if you win that $10 to pull it out from FanDuel and put it into your PayPal account, and then you're good for the rest of the month. You know what I mean? So that's just something I recommend. But of course, it's all dependent on if you would like to join us.
Check out the Slack group, man. It's cool. It literally is 24/7 DFS chat amongst all sports.
Yeah, it's always going. So
I don't know that there's anything like that.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to get working on the updated sheets right now with all the slates, and I will send those out as soon as I'm done. Have a wonderful day. Good luck.